Now for our featured story of the day. Bitcoin can soar 2,426% over the next 5 years, according to ARK Invest, is Cathie Wood. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood and if her name was Cathie Wood? And the wood was actually the Bitcoin. Let me know in the chat. But yeah, let's break this down. As you know, she recently upped her bullish target when it comes to Bitcoin price forecast. The one investor who has my attention right now is the one and only Cathie Wood, ARK Invest extraordinaire. She is now predicting the pretty little bitty hitting 2.4 million per coin within the next 5 years. Let that one sink in. That's an eye-popping prediction, especially given the Bitcoin recently struggling to regain 100,000, which it has achieved, it seems, 1 billion times already since first capturing it. Bitcoin on today's prices, a 2.4 million future price tag, assumes Bitcoin soaring literally 2,426% over the next 5 years. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Now, for several years, Cathie Wood of ARK Invest has been using a building block valuation model for the biddy. Simply stated, she looks at 6 key areas where Bitcoin is showing signs of growth and then attempts to forecast how these areas are growing to perform over the next 5 years. She then sums up the value of each of these key areas to arrive at a total valuation for Bitcoin. And right now, the key driver for the Bitcoin price growth involves the spot Bitcoin ETFs. That's because large institutional investors, you got the likes of BlackRock, Fidelity, ARK21, now 21, MicroStrategy, now known as Strategy, and the list goes on, are continuing to pour money into Bitcoin via these ETFs. If investors decide to ratchet up the percentage of their portfolios allocated to the pretty little bitty, that should help send the price of the Bitcoin soaring. Now, in the updated $2.4 million forecast, Cathie Wood thinks the Bitcoin would account for 6.5% of the investment portfolios by 2030, which is still a very modest assumption, in my opinion. That's an aggressive target because right now the suggested allocation for the Bitcoin is just 2%. I mean, it's perspective. And many risk-averse investors may be comfortable with only 1%. Imagine being an investor and only having a 1% allocation to Bitcoin. That's the definition of retarded. But it's certainly within the realm of possibility. I'm going to say that again. Now, I mean, something Katie Hobbs you would expect to do, but she vetoed the bill altogether. Not even a 1% allocation, Katie. Come on now. Now, in ARK Invest's Big Ideas 2025 report that was published in January, Cathie Wood arrived at a 1.5 million price tag for the biddy. If you compare the numbers used in the report with the numbers used in the updated prediction of the 2.4 million, not much has changed. For example, ARK Invest is still using the 6.5% allocation figure for the institutional investors. Now, on the other side of that, what if some of these institutions like BlackRock said, fuck it, 6.5, what are we, retarded? Let's just do 50%. It's the apex predator after all. You run the math. Now, what has changed, however, is Cathie Wood's calculation of the Bitcoin coin supply. Based on her estimates, as much as 40% of the Bitcoin supply is now vaulted, which means it has been taken off to crypto exchanges and put into the private blockchain wallets for the safe long-term storage. It also refers to Bitcoin that has been lost or has simply disappeared from circulation. So this missing 40% could have profound impact on the supply and the demand. And as we know from Economics 101, increased demand from an asset amid declining supply should send the price of the asset soaring higher. Bitcoin, famed for its inherent scarcity, as we know, can only ever be 21 million, appears to be becoming more scarce. No, it is becoming more scarce over time. ARK Invest's updated valuation model uses an experimented new metric called the liveliness, which refers to how much of the outstanding Bitcoin supply can be traded on a daily basis. When this liveliness metric is used as part of the valuation model, it results in much higher price forecasts for the biddy. You can check the math for yourself. It's all publicly available on the official ARK Invest website. Now, you might have noticed that I have not used the word tariff until now, referring to the author of the article. As soon as I heard about ARK investing or their new 2.4 million target, I immediately assumed it involved tariffs and global trade policy, but this doesn't appear to be the case. That is not priced in whatsoever on the forecast. The updated forecast was based primarily on new thinking about Bitcoin's circulating supply. So what happens when we factor in the tariffs and all the other elements, the macroeconomic perspective? You do the math. That being said, ARK Invest does point out to more investors starting to view Bitcoin as digital gold and that this is the now second biggest driver of the future valuation, also pointing that Bitcoin is now being viewed as a potential safe haven asset in many emerging markets where there are concerns about currency devaluation as well as hyperinflation, which will lead to hyper-Bitcoinization. Send it. So as far as tariffs going into effect, keep your eye on those two factors because it could dramatically impact the Bitcoin future valuation. After all, ARK's invest base scenario, Bitcoin only hits 1.2 million. And in a bear scenario, Bitcoin is still going to rise to $500,000 per coin. But there you have it. What are your thoughts surrounding her 2.4 million bull scenario by the year 2030 base case? Bear scenario, $500,000. Let me know your thinking, and I'll read your comments out loud. Again, welcome everyone to the Q&A segment of the live stream.